TIFU by buying my wife a bra, by user typical _at_ 210. Yes, I foo again. I really actually don't feel I've done anything wrong, my wife disagrees. All summer she has been complaining about her sweaty tits. How she's ruining all her good bras with chabe sweat. She's paranoid about under boob sweat lines, etc., etc. Now this isn't my first rodeo, so I stuck to just sympathetically listening and nodding at appropriate times. No comments that could be misconstrued as me criticizing her breasts or her sweatiness or anything like it. She's not even any more sweaty than the average person and her breasts are incredible, but I digress. And absolutely no way in hell was I going to try to solve her problem. Only a husband who is an idiotic masochist would do that, right? But then last week I got an email from the company she buys her period pants from. Each newsletter sign up gets money off their order, so a while back she had also signed up using my email address to get an extra promo code. I don't have a menstrual product fetish or anything, I swear. Anyway, the subject line caught my eye. The sweat-proof bra. A match made in leak-proof heaven. Obviously any sane person would delete the email, but as I said, I'm an idiotic masochist. Plus, the email said this bra would be my wife's new breast friend. Who was I to keep her from her breast friend? So I checked out the sizes of her other bras and then placed an order. It arrived an hour or so ago. I knew what it would be, so handed it to her unopened. Here babe, this is for you. Ooh, what is it? It's a bra. At this point I see the glint in her eyes and realize my mistake. Sure enough, instead of the sexy lingerie she was hoping for, she pulls out her large, beige, utilitarian-looking sweat-proof bra. Well, I'm sure you can imagine how it went from there, and my foolish muttering of "bu but the ad said it would be your new breast friend" didn't help matters. Because apparently I am the only sweaty tit here. I don't find her sexy anymore. I'll have you know that those sweaty breasts fed and nourished our children. And just what, exactly, am I getting at anyway? Am I trying to say she has saggy boobs? That she needs a new bra? A more supportive one, for her aging sag bags. This is just like me, to try to solve a problem, rather than letting her vent. So yeah, that went well. She has taken the kids to their swimming lesson and then for ice cream, so I have 2 hours or so to try to salvage things, somehow. Crotchless pants? 4 fucking sisters and not one of them is free to answer the phone. 4 iterations of "sorry I'm busy, is it an emergency?" texts. So I'm on my own with this one. I think she'll be more willing to listen to my apology when she returns. She knows I am a well-meaning idiot. And I think she is beautiful and sexy and deserving of lingerie, not beige, sweat-eating monstrosities. TL, please, take heed of my lesson, no matter how much she complains about her tit sweat, do nothing. Edit, they're just back. She has ice cream for me and a sheepish grin, lol. I imagine we will be laughing about this after the kids go to bed. Like someone said, possibly my delivery, as if it was going to be a great present, contributed to her reaction. As did the fact I haven't bought her sexy underwear in a long time. And she may well be going through the perimenopause. We have an incredible relationship, she is so funny, kind, caring, laid back, witty and a million other good things. Her reaction was baffling, it was so out of character. Anyway, I'm going to read the kids their stories and put them to bed. They always sleep incredibly well after swimming, so hopefully we can both enjoy her sweaty breasts soon enough, lol. P.S. Please don't call her a bitch, twat, or any other derogatory term that she has been called here. She is amazing and I love her more than anything. Edit 2, Jesus Christ, how long were we shagging for? This really gained traction whilst I was gone. She now knows about the post and finds the whole thing hilarious. Thank you for the funny comments and F you for the hurtful ones, thankfully this is in the minority. I didn't include the company, cause it might seem like some weird ad campaign, although maybe they wouldn't describe their own products as looking utilitarian, lol, but seeing as so many people asked, the brand is Modi Bodhi. Not sure about the bras, as yet untried, but my wife thoroughly recommends their period pants. TIFU, got a warning ticket for indecent exposure, by user throwawaygay1111. TIFU, today was 110 Fahrenheit with humidex and I've been putting off mowing the lawn for a long time. I'm a guy and typically wear jeans and t-shirt, but the weather was just so hot that push mowing an acre in jeans was just impossible. I decided to wear some bike shorts since they breathe better and are not as hot with a black tank top, as I've got some body dysmorphia with my chest and don't want people to see me shirtless. I put on some headphone and starts mowing the lawn. As I am halfway done the front yard, a female cop stops in front of the house. Turns out a neighbor called and said it was indecent exposure. I got the pervert treatment with the cop saying I was excited even though I am gay and was definitively not excited. I got a warning and was told to put some shorts or pants over my underwear even though they are definitively bike shorts, compression type. I've been crying all night. It was so humiliating. TLDR, got a ticket warning for wearing bike shorts in public. TIFU by not cleaning the depths of my belly button, by user Kinoftasoon dance. TLDR, didn't realize how deep my belly button was and never cleaned it fully, it sealed up and I cracked it open like a cold beer. This happened 3 days ago and I'm still a bit traumatized. I was taking a shower and cleaning my belly. I do clean my belly button, but I only ever really swabbed the entrance and thought that was good enough. On this fateful day, I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing. My soapy washcloth slipped and plunged deep into the depths of my navel. I felt a brief but intense pain, almost like I had just poked myself hard in the belly button. After a quietly muttered ow and a cursory check for blood or viscera, I finished my shower and went about my day. I foolishly believed that my belly button problems were behind me. Little did I know. I spent the rest of the day with a growing pain in my navel region. I felt discomfort when I bent down, or even laid on my belly. I brushed off the pain, assuming that I had simply bruised my belly with my inadvertent poke. However, the next day I was still in pain, so I took a look at the offending area. As a quick aside, I've always had a deep belly button. Like, the innies of innies. I could plunge my finger in up to my proximal phalanx with no issues. But when I looked at my belly button now, it seemed deeper and wider than before. And what's worse, a layer of gunk had accumulated around the entrance to my old mouth. Think of the kind of gunk that builds up around ear piercings, it's mainly sebum, dirt, and old skin. My belly button had never been obviously dirty before, so I knew something was afoot, or ably. After a quietly muttered WTF, ew, I fetched a tissue and wiped away the offending schmutz. I considered where this muck may have come from, and realized that it must have originated from my belly depths. I grabbed a Q-tip and gingerly inserted it into my belly button. 4 Q-tips later and my horror was mounting rapidly. My belly button was so dirty. And so deep. And so stinky. I swabbed the decks as best I could, then just sat and stared into the middle distance for a bit. Have you ever had a moment when your perception of yourself as a functional adult human being is completely shattered? When you realize that there is a fundamental aspect of self-care that you've just never done. When you wonder how you've made it this far as a person in society. This was my moment. I texted my mom, a retired nurse, to confirm my fears. I believe that my naval neglect resulted in a buildup of gunk that slowly filled up my belly button. At some point, I think the gunk sort of sealed my belly button together like some sort of disgusting letter. When my washcloth slipped, I broke the seal of my decades-old missive and freed the contents. To date, this is the silliest and most embarrassing injury I've ever inflicted upon myself. My mom joked that I could try carbon dating my layers, I'm a geologist, and said that the pain I'm feeling is probably because the gunk in my belly was stretching out that area and affecting my pain receptors. Now I'm leaving my belly button alone for a few days to see if it heals up and feels better. If not, I'm headed to the doctor. Moral of this story, remember to brush your old mouth, or you'll end up like me, fundamentally and irrevocably changed, with a sore belly and a mind full of regrets. To clarify, I am taking care of my belly button and will wash it out with hydrogen peroxide and isopropyl alcohol. Also, I'm a woman with tiny baby hands and small fingies, but I'm learning that my belly button may be abnormally deep. Maybe I'm in the running for a new Guinness World Record. Where do I go to submit an application? TIFU by overestimating how loud my new lawnmower is, by user Physione06. 33M, recently purchased a new lawnmower. The one I had for the last few years was a pre-owned 20-plus-year-old beast that finally died out on me earlier this summer. For a normal-sized, non-self-propelled mower, that sucker was loud. Like, I couldn't run it after 7 p.m. loud without causing a disturbance to my neighbors. Well, I found a good deal on a new one, and I sent my old one to the big garden shed in the sky. This last Saturday, I decided to take it out for a spin. I donned my suburban dad outfit, baseball cap and all, and tossed on my noise-canceling headphones, turned my music on shuffle, and got to work. And of course, like I do with any household task while listening to music, I started to sing. I figured, hey, loud ass mower, who's gonna hear me? So, for the next 60 minutes, I mowed and sang. I was an adult contemporary powerhouse, singing everything from Michael Jackson, to Post Malone, to a little J-pop here and there, to Whitney Houston. I don't care, I'm having fun, and who can hear me? Besides, I'm not a bad singer at all, I don't think. Not exactly going on tour anytime soon, but good enough that I think I could sing in some low-rent local cover band. Well, turns out my two neighbors who live in the house directly behind and rear left of mine were having a little powwow where their kids were out playing and they were just chilling on the lawn. I wasn't paying attention to them. At least, not until I got 85% of the way done and I stopped for a water break. I pull off my headphones, grab a big swig of my water bottle, take a moment to stretch my back, and then I see them. 3 of my adult neighbors have lighters in the air waving at me. I was puzzled at first, so I waved back politely. One of them said, "Great concert, Fusion. When's your next show?" I was confused for a moment, but, like the rising sun itself, the light of my humiliation crept across my mind. I wanted nothing more than to abandon the mower, run inside, grab my wife and kids, burn the house down, change my name, grow a mustache and move us all to Mexico out of sheer embarrassment. But I held it together, and said, probably a little louder and more high-pitched than I intended, "You guys could hear me." They smiled and nodded. One of them laughed a bit. They were teasing me a bit, but not in a mean way. I said back, "Oh God, I'm so sorry." They told me it was fine and it was fun watching me enjoy myself with the singing and little dance moves I was doing. I stared at a little rabbit den forming in my yard, secretly wishing I could just go hang down there with the bunnies. I'm like, WTF, how can you hear anything over the lawnmower? I was singing, but certainly not loud enough to be heard past the lawnmower, right? Welp. I turned the mower on, sans headphones, and sure enough, this thing was way more quiet by comparison. Like, I could do a medium shout over this thing and be heard clearly, whereas the old one I could scarcely shout at the top of my lungs at a short distance to be heard. I laughed it off with more courage than I actually had at the time and said, "Well, next show's gonna cost you. I don't give front row seats for free to just anyone." They laughed, I waved, and got back to work, swearing that the next time I work outside it's going to be podcasts or nothing. I figured, okay, it's over, right? Embarrassing moment, maybe they'll make a few jokes about it over the next few months, but they'll forget about it, yeah? Boy was I effing wrong. I sat down to dinner on Saturday night to an alert from Facebook that someone had posted in the neighborhood group. Turns out my neighbors talked after the incident, and now they're inspired and want to do a neighborhood karaoke night, and they want me to join in and/or MC. They called me the neighborhood DJ, straight face, and now either I have to do this again for a larger crowd, or risk being seen as the neighborhood party pooper. We have 50 plus houses in the neighborhood and at time of writing, at least 40 people have commented on the thread expressing interest. I've been trying very hard to stay on good terms with my neighbors for obvious reasons, and they're overall pretty decent folk, but man, I am going to need to double up on my anxiety meds for this. Curse me in my magnificent singing voice. TLDR, I sang my heart out while mowing the lawn, thinking nobody could hear me. I was wrong, and now people want me to host a karaoke night. Tifu by calling the police to my friend's house thinking they were in danger, by user Maduros. This happened a few hours ago, a little before midnight. I was texting my friend for a while leading up to when I called the police. My friend and I were messaging each other until all of a sudden they send a text saying my lights keeps flickering, call the cops. No context whatsoever. At this point I think it's an emergency and something is actually happening and I call them. No response. I text them. Still no response. I proceed to try and call them 2 more times and text them once more, but they still don't pick up or answer. At this point I'm worried that something has already happened and I proceed to call them police. As I'm on the phone with the police I finally get an answer, but at that point I had already told the officer the address and the individual's name along with the other people who resided with them. I get off the phone with the police and the friend tells me that there was nothing wrong. And I explain that I thought they were in danger because they weren't picking up the phone and wasn't responding to the texts I sent. After that, I call emergency services again hoping that I can tell them that the individual I called to check on is alright, and they responded to me after a few minutes. A few minutes later I receive a phone call from the individual's phone and it's their mother. I already know that I'm gonna get chewed out, and I try to explain what happened about the text and how I thought the household was in danger. Long story short, I'm to never call the cops to their house, and I believe something is happening to call the mother first. At that point I just decided to call it quits, cause I ended up being the bad guy in the situation and went to bed only to wake up to a text from my friend saying, "You're really a piece of shit for what you did, and you know exactly what you were doing, and I don't know what to do." Dr. called the cops thinking there was an emergency and got chewed out by their mom for bringing the police to her home.